Good. So, yes, okay. So, what we ended up with was that we agreed in this room that we need to have a task for any business model innovation, also when it's circular and sustainable. And that task has to include the success criteria, which has to be defined before we actually start the business model innovation project. Volume? Okay. So the success criteria has to be set. So what vision and mission do we have? What short and long-term success criteria are we trying to reach? And then we have to find out what time we have to be finished. How long time will we accept for the business model innovation process? We need to have a budget. And then we have to find out what level we want to innovate on the different levels we have in the butterfly. Because we have to address for those who are going to do it, where do we want to do? Do we want to do a new business? Do we want to just have them to look at a certain business model and then just shape it so it's circular and sustainable, and so on. But then we also have to find out how much risk do we want to take. And this model, very simple model, drawn in Excel spreadsheet, and this model has been drawn up in some of the books and articles. But the first thing we have to find out is how many of the dimension in the business model are we willing to change? So it means that we have how many dimensions do we have in a business model? 7. That's why 7 is here. And that is about complexity. So the first arrow here is on complexity. So it means, are we accepting that we change the value proposition, the customers, users, the value chain functions, the competences, the network, the value formula, and the relations. So we have to, and this work actually kind of, comes before we even invite anybody in here. So if you do this over the night, then we have all our mates here tomorrow, then you tell them you can only change 2 of them: value proposition and user and customers. That could be an example. But then the next thing is we have to find out, if I say to somebody, you can only change the value proposition in the customers, then they will also need to find out how much can they change it. Can I kill the customers if I have an SS business model? Am I allowed to throw the customer out and take a new one in? Or should I keep the customer and then fiddle a little bit with him or her so that they get more and more green? So I have to find out the radicality of the change, which can be defined low, medium, high. So on each of these dimensions, I can go in and say, okay, I will accept this and this. That does not mean that finally, when we end, that the business model that is finally coming out of the process looks exactly like we had defined in the task. But if you make it as an open green field, then you can expect that they will do something very, very different to what you want. So here we are actually addressing some that we are going to talk about a little bit later in the course: leadership and management. Leadership is not about micromanagement. It's about giving them a room where they are allowed to innovate in. And then you can continuously go in and see if they go over the line, and then say, get in. So for example, my researchers, they are also very innovative. I give them a kind of a field where they can play, and then as long as they play within that field, and every time they want to get out because they have some arguments and so on, that we discuss it. So I know exactly the task has been changed. Then I'm okay with it. And if you don't give them this, then you can be certain that if you have dreamt about getting a sheep out of the process, then you will get an elephant or a snake or something else. So you have to take leadership. That's not the same as management, because management is more about, having the daily business model innovation process going on, registering the time and all this. But leadership is, you have to feel that somebody is on the ship and steers it. And it will also give, for those who are participating, it will give them much more relax, and they will feel that there is something they can always come back to. So the task and leadership is extremely important. Also, because sometimes you will meet a stone or an ocean or whatever, and then you have to be sure that the ship is still going. So how much complexity do you want, and how radical do you want? Are you accepting to change the different dimension of the business model? So I mentioned business model, but it could also be that we want to change the portfolio. It's actually exactly the same framework. It could also be that we one of the others. We are simply. It could be the ecosystem. We could be in a situation where we are aiming at disrupting the ecosystem, totally disrupting it, and we accept it. But that's different. Then the next thing we would like to also specify is the reach. We call it reach. Which ecosystem do we want to address? And then also define, is this something that is new to the business? So for example, if I'm doing sustainable and circular business model, is this something that is completely new to the business? Is it something that is new to the vertical business model? Is it something that has not been done in the windmill, you could say, ecosystem? Is it something that even is so new that it has not also been introduced to those ecosystems that are beside us? And the reason why we should know about that is that we could actually face a situation where if we do this change, then the largest competitors might not be those who are just in the vertical, but it could be some in the horizontal that could compete us. Now I heard this morning that Elon Musk is coming to India. He's setting up very big, large factories. I guess some Indian competitors, they are thinking about right now what to do. Maybe. But it could also be that somebody else that we don't know of could be. And then the last is about the reach is this something that actually touch upon any business model ecosystems? So it actually will, if this is invented, then it will actually change the whole globe that we are sitting in, and all ecosystems. Um, and this can actually help us to define how risky it is, because the more we change on the number of dimensions, the more we the more we change on each of the dimensions in a radical perspective, and the more it touches about changes on this axis, actually the more risk we take. Theoretically, it could be practically not, but theoretically it should actually mean that if this is touching upon changing all these very high on all this and touching upon all of this, then we are into what we call disruptive innovation. And where if we are walking in a little bit in the middle, we will be into what we in the paper that is addressed here is in radical business model innovation. And if we just make small changes, then we are in incremental business model innovation. This is kind of fair when we present a new business model innovation projects, that we serve this to the CEO and the management group, so that they understand how large is this and how risky is it. Then, of course, if I'm the one that has to present it, I'm not the one that takes the decision. That's the CEO. That's the CEO. The thing is that, and that's why we put the fourth arrow on here. That is that we have something that is called time, and time means that when we go in the process, and here is maybe also something that is very important to listen and notice. That is, any business model innovation has, in our term, a creation part. Then you have a capturing part where you have to capture and box it in the creation, and then you have to deliver it. It could be that we can innovate a new rocket that can go to one of the to Mars or to somewhere else, but we are not actually able to deliver it. And then we also have to be sure that the customer can receive it. So it means that, for example, if we are doing a circular and a sustainable business model, and we can do it, we can prove it, but the customer cannot receive it or are not willing to receive it, then we have a challenge, because we cannot get in to the customer, and therefore they cannot come to the last point, and that is they are not able to consume it. So if I do digital marketing, I can make some nice digital marketing, but if the customer cannot receive it, maybe they don't have a computer that can receive it, or mobile telephone, or they don't come in that channel or so on, then you can have a very, very good business model on digital marketing, but they will never see it. So therefore, it's very important that they can receive it. And then, peculiar enough, a lot of customers, they buy, but they never consume it. So the famous example from the digital e-commerce area is this. I think it was the business called Sapo, in US. They investigated ladies. How many shoes would they like to have? And then they found out also what they hate. And they hate they like very much to have as many shoes as they can, but they don't. They cannot take a decision in the shop, so they want to have it home, and then they can go walk around with their friends and so on, and see how nice it looks. And then Sapo made a business model where they said, okay, you can have that. You can order as many shoes as you like. The only condition is that if you don't hand them back after 30 days, then we will take the money on your credit card. Fantastic model. They were going booming because the ladies, they suddenly have everything else to think about, and then they forgot to deliver the shoes back. So this is an example on that they didn't actually consume it because they just had it on once and they tried and saw and blah blah blah, but they never took it on. Only few of them. That was also their investigation. So this circle, we need to be sure that we have. So what I'm arguing for here is that you have to put these things up before you do the business model innovation, and then if you also have to do another thing, which is kind of management, and that is, if you set up a circular and sustainable business model innovation project and you want to do it in the business, then you have to decide on what kind of management style do you want to have in the group. Do you want to have one that is very, very harsh, looks after every minute how they spend, or are you more in a situation where you want to have a more loose business model innovation project? Of course, you cannot until tomorrow have all this in place, on Monday. But I'm just thinking about if I can kind of motivate you a little bit to think about when you start on your circular and sustainable business model innovation project, which can be small, it can be large, it can be medium, it can be very risky. That's up to you to choose. Then think about some of these 7 points. There are actually 7 points. I don't know why it matches to the dimension number also, but we have proposed 7 points that you have to think about. And then I think you are in a good shape. And then, of course, remember to all the way track where are we? Because it's important that everybody in the group, they know in which phase we are in. Because if we have 5 of the members and we are, let's say we are 6 members, and they believe we are in conceptualization phase, and the one thinks that we are in prototyping, then we have a kind of a conflict. Yes. So do some good work where you discuss what are we doing now, and where are we, and you can also with maybe a little advantage decide that there's one that takes lead, and then you can switch and say, okay, now it's your turn. And then also what I like very much when we have the presentation is that you have divided the presentation amongst you, so that everybody have a chance to talk. But then in the talk, remember to be kind of shaped so that this talk has to be about levels. This talk has to be about risk. This talk has to be about where are we in the business model innovation process, so that you are not just trying to get around all the dimensions, but you are actually structuring your presentation. And remember, you only have 7 minutes. And it's not about you holding to the microphone and I can't get it. It's really about that in that 7 minutes, you really have to deliver. And you have to tell me about the 7 things that are involved in the task. Okay, so what is actually meant now is that you should actually, and I know we are not fully booked here, but you should actually, on behalf of your B-boards here, you should find out one business model that you would like to innovate related to, again, circular, sustainable business model. And then I think I'll open the floor. Maybe you had hoped that we had work all the time on the floor, but can you maybe just have a small discussion in your group around this, and remember coming around to a point where you can define the task of what you are going to do when you have all on board. Okay? Thank you. And of course, it is on behalf of the B-business case. So the task is to do a discussion on which of the business model would you like to choose, and it can be any of them. It can even be a completely new one. So it could be the cubes, it could be the pencils, it can be the books, it can be the B-board, yeah. And it doesn't have to be the one that causing most trouble. Any questions?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Our team members are not here right now. So if we choose a model right now,
Yeah.
then on Monday they will come.
Yeah.
And if they suggest another model, then
They can't do it because you are in the lead. You are the leader.
Can we do the exercise thing Monday? Yes.
We will do that Monday. Yes, certainly. Yeah.
All the members are present.
Yeah.
Members are absent.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, but maybe you're thinking, and then you can propose them Monday. Yeah. Okay. I don't know how much time we have left.
We still have some time, so
Yeah.
you can do it if you have something else to share with us. Anything else?
Talk a little bit more on the business model innovation process. Yeah.
If we think of innovating a new thing in our business to introduce a new model in the business, what is the threshold point when we realize that yes, now the business can shift from this innovation quadrant to ecosystem quadrant? What is the threshold point? Like, what is that exact point when we can say that yes, now it can move from this to this?
Uh,
when we introduce a new product, like
Yeah.
considering it has taken off,
Yeah.
and the product has taken off. It's already in the market. It has shown some growth. It has shown some earning, and
Yeah.
now it's here.
Yeah.
maybe It's here. What is the threshold point that will determine that now this product can go from here to here to the ecosystem?
I'm a little bit uncertain about what you mean with the threshold point.
I mean, what I have understood
Yeah.
throughout the lectures,
Yeah.
this is the optimum position, right?
This is where we are in the ecosystem and we
Yes.
are invoicing. Yes.
This is the ideal or optimum position.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is the objective of all the products or all the business models is to rise up there.
Yeah.
So if any product is in the innovation zone,
Yeah.
I hope my voice is audible. I don't know why.
But not very important.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we think of pushing up the product from this to this zone,
Yeah.
like what is that exact point when we can decide on that? Like, yes, now this is the point now where I can say that yes, this product can move from this point to this point.
Yeah.
What is that exact point?
So if you talk about exact point, is that if we can do it, or are you thinking about the choice amongst different business model innovation bubbles or possibilities, and
Yes.
say how should we choose among one according to another one?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
This
Okay.
this might also be one of the perspective. Actually, I'm thinking of something else.
Mm?
This is the darkest green zone,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
This is the optimum zone.
Yeah.
Where all the models are operating
Yeah,
in the
and-
business,
and,
in the
earning money.
ecosystem,
Yeah,
and
and we are-
earning money.
Yeah.
This is the zone where the business is falling out of money.
Yeah,
Right.
they're
This
losing
is
money.
the-
Yes,
they are
yes,
losing money.
and they are in the
Here,
market. Yeah,
this is the
in
innovation phase.
Yeah.
Where there are these demarcations like introduction, idea, concept, and like that.
Yeah.
This is the innovation quadrant,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So when a product enters the market,
Yeah,
when an innovated product enters the market and
Yeah.
it's doing good in the market,
yeah, but it cannot do good in the market over here. That's only here.
yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly I'm
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about. How will this product be pushed from this point to this point? The model will get pushed from this point to this point.
Yeah. So it depends on what phase it is in. So, for example, if it's in the ideation phase, there are some exact points that has to be met before it can come over in the concept phase. And these are well defined also in theory, what you have to meet here, and also in the business here. If you set it very clever up in the business, then you have some markers here that decides if you can go from ideation to conceptualization. So in many large businesses, they have continually these decision points where you meet, and then you have to verify if you are meeting the criteria from going from idea to concept. So it could be, for example, in Denmark, we want to build a new bridge. It's a very large project, and then we can build it. That's no problem. The only thing is that it cannot maybe meet the circular and sustainable green parameters. So that will be a critical point here. If it has to go from ideation to conceptualization, it does not just have to meet the budgets and so on, but it also have to meet the sustainable and circular goals criteria. So that's a criteria if it can go from here to here, from conceptualization to prototyping. There you have some other criteria that has to be met. And again, when you finish the prototyping and you send it to the implementation phase, where you have to do all the marketing. I'm mentioning digital marketing again. all this what is actually set up here over here. There you also have to do some criteria, and you can then verify that it's ready to market. That it's ready to go to market. There you have some criteria again, and um, again the criteria is different from if it's about change of a dimension, if it's a business model, if it's a portfolio, or it's simply a new business, or it's even an ecosystem. So the criteria is very different, very different. So I don't know if I'm answering here, because it's not a straightforward answer I can give here, because it depends on what we are doing. So and what kind of business model innovation we have in the hand. Um, I maybe I also just want to address again. I'm continuously. I could listen to the videos, and I'm continuously saying in the room, "Don't forget the bubbles." And it's simply about, you know, that if you don't have bubbles enough here, then you don't have raw material to come in here, and it's not just yourself that should generate the bubbles. You should also invite customers, network partners, even internal employees to come with the bubbles. Someone from outside can come in, and because the more bubbles you have here, the larger amount of raw material you have to choose. Then of course there are some that is totally ridiculous related to your business, but that can be managed. That can be managed, so you very quickly can sort it. Yeah. Then choosing among the business models for you to work with, I myself personally would like to work with some that actually gives meaning. So I would be more liking to work with some that actually means something for the business. So for example, over here, it could be interesting if I could have this one moved up here, because I trigger sometimes on business models that are not quite functioning. But also, for example, if I meet a business that is close to bankrupt, then I get very excited, because what if we could change it and have it running again? So I'm triggering very much on something where you have challenges. And also if you look at managers, there are some that are very, very highly attracted to very, very difficult situations. So, for example, I don't know if I mentioned Lego, the Lego bricks, Danish business. It's one of the seven sisters, largest businesses in Denmark. Just 7-8 years ago, they were very close to go bankrupt. And then they got a new CEO, and he has changed it totally. So now it's one of the richest among the seven sisters. And to go into that journey, it's very tough, but it's also exciting. It must be a very big. He must be very proud to be able to, together with his team, to do such. Our largest airplane company, SAS, Star Alliance, were very, very close to, and now they have turned a new CEO and so on, and it must be very exciting and be able to do it, let me see. There is another. That's more a football club in Premier League. where you, I have often wish if we could study that. Why is it that you can have a new trainer coming into a football club, and they are one big disaster because they are losing also, and then 1 week after he has entered, then they start to win, and then they go up at the top. I think Liverpool was one of the teams, and they were going like this. Manchester United is in the same situation. Yes, I think it's very exciting if we find out what are they actually doing. Maybe they have a smart T-shirt, or I don't know. Okay, I think maybe we will need to wrap up here and then meet on Monday. You have a very, very important Sunday where you have to relax. So I wish you a good weekend, and see you soon. It has been nice to be together with you. Have a nice weekend. Okay.